to recap, we set up a recipe that will be triggered by Salesforce, specifically when a new or updated high priority case appears in Salesforce. So we set up our trigger and we tested it to make sure that we are actually retrieving data from Salesforce. So now that I know my trigger is working, I'm going to go flip back from the test jobs tab to the recipe tab so I can start adding some actions here. So when a new case appears in Salesforce, what do I want to happen next? Well, I know I want to create a ticket in Jira. So I'm going to click Add Step. I could also click the plus sign down here at the bottom. I'm going to add a step. And there's a few different types of actions I could take. I could do an action in app, which means that I'm going to tell a specific app to do something. I could invoke a reusable recipe function, set up some branching if-then logic. So we'll get into some of these later, but I'm going to start with just setting up an action in app because what I want to happen is that there's a high priority case in Salesforce and I want to file a Jira ticket as a result. So I select an app and I can search for Jira now. And there's some different options that we have here. We can create an issue, update an issue, a lot of different things we can do with Jira. But what we want to do now is just create an issue. And then we're going to use the Idea Lifestyle Jira account that we set up. And now we have to configure where exactly in Jira do we want to create this issue. We want this issue to be somewhere where the people who are working on it can easily find it. So we do want to think through in the planning stage, where does this need to go? So under project issue type, I can select from a drop-down the various projects that are in my specific Jira account. And I'm going to go select the one in customer support. And I will make a customer support task. I could also manually type in a project and issue type, but it's already imported for me. Makes it easy just to click it from the drop-down menu. Next, I need to select the sample project issue type. And in Jira, I've already have my issue types set up with custom fields that my team needs. So luckily Workato is able to pull those in for me. So I can go down here, find my customer support project, and then click customer support task. And now any custom fields that I might have set up for my customer support tasks, those will be taken into account when we create our Jira issue. And now I have the option to create a description which will appear in the Jira ticket. And here's where I can put some information that will help my engineers in solving this issue. So giving them the context they need. And Workato's AI is actually making some suggestions for me, such as description. Well, that sounds like a perfect thing to map over, so I'll click that. But in addition, I want to make sure that they have some other things they might need too. So, for example, I'll probably want to have the case reason and also the case number. Those could also be helpful for the people working on this issue. And from the data here, it's only going to pull in the values. So in order to help them when they're looking at it, I'll put in some headers too. So case number, and then after that, I can type in my case reason. So it makes it more readable. Also, I'm going to select an optional field to show. So but I think will be really helpful for the people working with this issue is if I add a label here. So I'll select add label. And I'll have the Salesforce case number be the value of that label. So that way it's easy for me to go back and forth between the Salesforce case and the Jira ticket and compare the two. So we'll do case number for our label. Now, if I want to run a test on this again, rather than having to go all the way back to Salesforce and make a change to my test case, I can just click repeat job, and it's going to use the same trigger data that was used before, but it's also going to use the latest version of my recipe. So let's click repeat job here. And when we click on actions, we can see create issue in Jira and what's being output there. And if I flip back to Jira, I can see that my issue has been created successfully. If I open up the Jira issue, I can see that the issue title, motor design hindering performance, matches exactly the same as my Salesforce case. And then under description, it has the same description that was in Salesforce along with my case number and case reason. So overall, looking pretty good. So we were successfully able to take a new updated case in Salesforce and create a Jira ticket. Awesome. Minimum viable functionality has been achieved. But we do want to do one more thing. Just putting it in Jira isn't enough. We want to make sure that the product people actually see it because this is a high priority case. So we want to make sure we grab their attention. So I'll add one more step after create issue in Jira. And this time I will do another action in app, but this time I'm going to select Slack as my app of choice. And it's going to give me a choice of actions, but what I want to do is post a message to the channel where product can see the issue. So I'll click post message, use my Idea Lifestyle Slack connection, and then I can select a channel. So I type it in manually if I know the channel, or I can click from the drop down if I need some help remembering. And I could use some help remembering things. So case management updates, that's exactly where I want to be. So I'll have it be posted in case management. Now, for the basic text, this is what is actually going to appear as the content of my Slack message. I want to make things simple and clear. Workato is making some suggestions I could use. I'm going to go with a different option. I'm going to go with the case number. So I can go take a look at my data tree here, and I'll want to go instead of step 2, where we're looking at Jira output, I want to see data that's being output from Salesforce in step 1. And I'm going to look for the case number. And then I will want to have some descriptive text before the case number. So I'll say case updated. We can also customize the attachment title. So that's going to be above the link that will be posted in this message. And here I'm just going to pull in the subject from Salesforce. AI is being my friend, helping me out here. And then for the URL, the attachment title link. So when the person who sees this message clicks the link, where do we want them to go? There's a good chance they may not have access to Salesforce. We want to link them to where they do the work, where they're already working. So instead, I should link them to Jira. So I'm going to go back into Jira now and open up one of my cases. And I'll just copy this URL here and paste that URL in the attachment title link. However, the issue key is going to be different each time we run this automation. So we'll replace the CS11 key that we have in our URL. And here's something pretty cool. We can dynamically populate it with the case ID for this current process. So going back to my data tree, I'm going to go down to create issue. And here for the output, we have the key. So now the URL has the correct key appended at the very end here. And now in the attachment text, I could add some descriptive information about what's going on with this issue. And I'm going to once again follow Workato's suggestion to use the Salesforce description here. And there's a ton of other things that we can customize with Slack. We can even make full-on Slack bots. That's a whole other demonstration we could show you. But I like to look through here and see if there's anything fun I could use, such as attachment color. I'll select warning. And I think that's good for now. So let's save this, save a recipe, and run another test. So I'm going to click repeat job. And okay, looks like the job was successful and a message was posted in Slack. We are getting output here. So now I want to flip over to Slack and see if the message is there. And I can see right here, here's my case. And it's with the title Motor Design Hindering Performance with some description underneath. And if I click that link, my product team is taken directly to the Jira ticket in question.